I didn't.
Yeah.
Are you reeling in the years? That's Steely Dan.
Oh, it's Reeling in the Years.
Reeling in the Years. That's what the song's called.
Yeah. That's a great show.
It's a great show and it's a great song. And it's a great podcast. Welcome to the last edition of the year 2024 of the Good Touch for a Big Man podcast. Kieran, it is the 30th of December. We are in your house, in your home, in our studio. And on this week's podcast, we are going to review the year that was 2024.
Yeah, reviewing the year that was 2024. We're going to do the team of the half season as well.
A massive get it out.
Get it out. So it's a very busy podcast. We might go through the football quickly. But,
briefly.
I suppose, how was your Christmas, Adam?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Good. Enjoyable, I would say. I think as you get older, not that it means less, but there's not the same magic that was.
I notice it goes by quicker.
It goes so quick, man.
Yeah.
And I felt like all the shenanigans before Christmas this year, so the likes of Fontaines, Mary Wallopers, Damien Dempsey.
Yeah.
Like, I was burnt out come Christmas Day, come Christmas Eve, because we go for points in the hut in Phibsbury with Kieran, Rory, my brother, and Deco. I was burnt out at that point. It's a great tradition. But
it's a great laugh.
I got home that night and I slept for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
and then I went to bed then after. So
I was the same.
But yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable. And the football was really good as well, wasn't it? So, yeah, really, really, really happy, really content Christmas. Looking forward to the new year. But what a year 2024 was, I suppose.
Just another year, Johnny Dog. No, it was a fantastic year. Like even we went to Cologne, we went to Eindhoven as well.
Eindhoven, Rotterdam.
Serious amount of travelling done. I think I went to Barcelona in the summer as well. So it was good. It was good buzz, travelling wise, and I think we put some of the best bits in the best bits episode.
If you haven't heard, acquaint yourself because it's a good podcast.
It's a good crack. Roy's from Whoville, if anyone.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell, here we go again.
But yeah, Adam, I suppose we'll jump right into the football. There's been a lot that's happened. I don't think we've recorded properly since early December or mid-December.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think, yeah.
And like, I think we can safely say Chelsea have kind of fallen off into form-wise, which I predicted, by the way. I said we weren't in the title race at the time. Turns out it turned to be correct, because I think was it a 1-1 draw and then a 2-1 loss to Fulham kind of derailed their chances.
Chelsea playing tonight?
Chelsea are playing Ipswich tonight, yeah. Okay. They currently...
Away or at home?
Away.
Yeah.
I think they're 7 points behind, but Liverpool obviously have that game in hand.
Yeah.
And we'll leave Arsenal to be deluded.
That was going to be my question to you, because you said Chelsea aren't in the title race. Is there a title race at the minute?
I don't think there's.
I think it's kind of non-existent.
I think it's finished.
To be honest, do you think so?
I think Liverpool needed, the players for me needed a kick up the arse since Klopp left. I don't think they had the same motivation as even like 2 years ago when he was still manager. And City aren't as good. So Liverpool are still, for me, the team to be with City.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because they're still the most experienced side. You look at their spine, and I said this before, Van Dijk, you have Diaz, who's very experienced now, Salah, and the midfield as well. Curtis Jones is kind of coming into his own this year.
Yeah.
Gravenberch out of nowhere.
Szoboszlai.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, prime his career now.
Yeah.
And 2 great goalkeepers as well. So if someone gets injured, they have that.
I don't think, like in terms of Liverpool so far, they haven't really put a foot wrong.
Yeah.
The Forest game is really funny looking back on, because Forest are now second in the league, which shows how good they've been. Nuno Espirito Santos doing very well. But yeah, I think in terms of the title race, I'm not saying Liverpool have been fortunate. Liverpool deserve to be where they are because they've played how well they've played, but I think another year, if City maybe were a bit better, Arsenal, I think if they had the season they were having maybe last season or seasons gone by, but they're not. So we're dealing with facts, and the fact of the matter is Liverpool have just been so much better than these teams.
And not only that, Salah has been so much better. And I said this before the podcast started. I think since he got the new hairline, And
does help, man.
You
It
did
does
say
help.
at the start of the year, you were like, a good hairline for a man is, for a woman, good makeup.
It's like makeup for a
yeah,
woman. Yeah.
And it is a lot to be said for how Salah's performing since he got the hairline.
Yeah.
He's performing the best he ever has, and he's 32.
One of the lads' girlfriend is suddenly attracted to Mo Salah because of his hairline. So I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
You know. So,
And we're looking at darts players on the telly, and
leave him alone. Leave him alone, for God's sake. But yeah, no, it was a good festive period for Liverpool. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me, just because we don't want to talk about, there's been so much going on, so we don't want to.
there's too much.
Amazon Prime's coverage over the Premier League over the festive period is now done. So I think they've had the rights for 6 years, and now it's done and over it. And I'm quite disappointed with that, because I quite enjoyed their coverage of the Premier League.
I thought it was terrific from what I've seen. Like, they had kind of coverage across the board with that number of games. It's quite impressive.
And the way they kind of portray it is, especially over Christmas, I think generally speaking, there's nothing wrong with having 6 games on at 3 o'clock, like the usual kind of. But over Christmas, I do believe in a system where it should be like 4 games a day, so 4, 3 and 3 to kind of break them up.
Yeah.
And just so you're getting football more or less the whole week, just because like people have a lot of spare time at this time of the year, and they kind of did that, and the way they split the games up, I think was really good. BT and Sky just went, yeah, no, we don't want you to do that, so we've taken over, and that's kind of annoyed me a bit.
Yeah, so would that mean that there'd be more strain on the players then as well?
No, it just means that Amazon won't be covering it. And I kind of feel like the Premier League is in a moment now where it needs to be bought up by the likes of Netflix or an Amazon Prime to reach its full potential, because they're very quick to give out about the usage of illegal streaming, so likes of Fire Stick or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's the future.
They're also charging extortionate money for a package to watch these games, and then you have like the argument of like player welfare, and we'll be like, oh well, you have to look after the players, etc.
Yeah.
These players are also on a lot of money, and we're paying a lot of money to watch them. Like to break it down to as simple as possible, this is our entertainment. So what is the point of which you kind of go, right, it's unfair on the fan to be paying so much money for a product? I think I think Amazon, if they were to buy the rights for the Premier League and stream it, I think they'd be making a goal on. Because people, I would buy, if it was €20 a month to watch Premier League, most people would buy that instead of paying for a Fire Stick, etc. And you could eliminate the whole illegal streaming.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it just annoyed me. I seen that the other day, and they put up a nice montage, and I remember during COVID, Liverpool played Spurs, and they had Tim Sherwood doing the commentary for it, and Liverpool had a corner, and Tim Sherwood was like, Liverpool haven't won a header all game, Spurs will clear this. And then the ball was whipped in by Robertson, and Firmino scores straight away, and it's the best irony ever. Kind of way.
He's a plank though.
I think moments like that are great, and it's gonna be gone now, and I think it's a bit sad. But
there's numerous Tim Sherwood moments where that's happened as well.
But did you see his team the half season so far? He has Bowen, Saka, and Isak up front. He has no space for Salah in his team, and Salah's been the best player in the world. So look, that's Tim Sherwood. I'd love to have him on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
We challenge him to explain his views.
Yeah.
But I don't think nothing much to report over the festive period. I think a few managers were sacked, Adam, since the last episode. I think we seen Russell Martin leave, and unfortunately the managerial chopping block segment will have to ponder into.
It was like an epidemic, though, wasn't it? There was a few.
Existence.
There was Gary O'Neill, Russell Martin.
I think that was it.
Was that all?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like there's another?
But the relegation fodder essentially are coming for that managerial bounce. Oh, the Leicester manager as well.
Well, here's one for you.
Yeah.
Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
Well, here's one for you, right? Russell Martin playing a certain brand of football all season with Southampton. They're getting spanked week in, week out.
Yeah.
He gets sacked or he leaves, whichever. The manager who comes in his first game, sorry, I'm being ignorant here, comes in his first game, plays Fulham away from home. I think he was interim manager. Simon Rusk gets a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
By not playing like a fucking idiot and playing to the team's strengths, which is clearly, strong defensive structure.
Counter-attack.
Don't give away stupid goals. I was looking at Ipswich. Remember we were looking at Ipswich Arsenal the other night, 0-0. Ipswich have a spell of possession, towards the end of the end of the second half, for maybe 5-6 minutes. Now, personally speaking, I'd be very ignorant in saying this. If it's me and you're 1-0 down away from home, get the big lads up front. Go for it. Go for it. And instead of crossing the ball or trying to attack the game,
It's all very
just kept the
zonal
ball.
now,
And
though.
it's like, I think it's a disease on the game, man. I really do. And McKenna's a great manager, don't get me wrong, but stuff like that irritates me so much. It's like Arsenal weren't even at the races.
What do you
know?
think of the quality of football? I know you said it was great, but like in terms of what I've watched, and I've watched a lot over the last 5 or 6 days, I thought the football was terrible. Most of the games were kind of boring, like slow build up.
I think that's the way. But you're saying slow build up. I think it's faster in general, but I think it's slower than. Like, it's very methodical, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's crazy scrappy. It's just like one team's pressing, another team is just trying to pass out from the back. There's no structure to a game of football anymore.
Like the game we watched the other night, Brighton and Brentford, excuse me.
Yeah,
Great game, and that was 0-0. But it was a really good game.
it was a good game. Yeah,
good attacking game in terms of that. Not no end product, but I just think the way the game's being played, that's how it's gonna be now, isn't it? I don't think there's a way.
I think
to get away from
a
it.
slight decline in quality over the Christmas festive period always as well.
Yeah.
Just for players, they're kind of
sheer volume of
fed up
games,
as well. Yeah.
And Man City still poor as ever, man, which is crazy.
Yeah, they won the other day. I think they beat
Against
Leicester
yeah.
2 or 3-0, but I think they had less possession than Leicester. I've never seen that happen before to a Man City team.
Yeah,
That's
towards the end of the second half, and I think Pep is I think he's obviously, look, he's a very intelligent man. He wouldn't be in a position if he wasn't. But it does strike me like even the 1-1 at home to Everton, I think is that's a bad result. Like you know what I mean? Like I think that's a really bad result.
I just wonder, is he resigning to the fact he doesn't have a midfield this season and he's just like gonna play a different style of football? I would be
I was looking at that game yesterday against Leicester and I was baffled because the amount of times Leicester just bypassed their midfield.
yeah.
And to be honest, like if this was Liverpool or even Chelsea against this Man City team, you're talking 4 or 5-0. Just the sheer chances Leicester created without scoring.
Yeah.
If this is ourselves, it's
So do you think the misery continues further on into January?
I think they'll buy in January. I think they'll buy in January.
They need a
so probably
midfielder
not.
too, don't they?
I'd say a midfielder, a forward, and maybe 2 midfielders and a forward.
Back up for Haaland.
Backup. You see, man, not a lot's been said about Pep's kind of recruitment and like letting Liam Delap go. And it's very easy to say it now. He's had a really good season, but very similar forward to Haaland. Like you would imagine that he could have been a great backup to even just to rotate.
Yeah.
Do you know? So
Like, I'm fairly sure Lavia was in their academy. Morgan Rogers, Palmer.
Palmer. Palmer's like looking back on the Palmer one, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Nuts enough.
Rogers is a great player. I love Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, and he does the same celebration as well. But
I think he originated. Didn't
yeah,
he?
that's
said
what
that, hasn't
Palmer
he?
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, Palmer's like 20 times the player, isn't he? So
yeah, Man United had him over the festive period.
such a challenge, isn't it? For
Weird.
Amorim. Such a task.
He came in and I was like, oh, he's going to make them better instantly. Like, usually you see some sort of managerial kind of bounce or
I really
restructure.
don't believe in that. I've said that before. I don't believe in the new manager bounce.
Yeah, but if a manager's good, usually you see an instant impact. It's tightening up, kind of even a 1 or 2-0. But I think Amorim is a good manager. I don't think he's a bluffer. I think he's a good manager, and to see him struggle like this, it just kind of says a lot for how bad Man United are being run.
He's brought in at such a poor time.
Yeah, November.
Like why? I don't know why they didn't just sack Ten Hag in the summer and get him then. And like, suppose they sack Ten Hag in the summer and they bring in Amorim. You're talking the likes of Guy Ocares, who's with Lisbon, who's with the team. Amorim was with previous. Him coming in instead of Xerxes, for example. Like the recruitment would be different. You would imagine. Yeah, he just has such a big task. It's like honestly like. In all of Liverpool's time, you know, that 30 years they didn't in the league or whatever, a lot of it was bleak, but a lot of it, you know, we were still contending, you know, in Champions League, top consistently. This Man United side looks so far off it. Like they look so far off it.
If you look at this Man United squad, 1 to 11 that are starting for them now, it is one of the worst Man United teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just for the pure fact, and I know you said Man United fans probably think getting rid of Rashford is a good idea. Now, whether you agree with that or not,
I think so.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Rashford is at least an established player. You look at that Man United squad 1 to 11. I don't know who they are. Most of them that are playing now, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
It's
really bad.
very poor.
It's really, really bad.
And to still have people like Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire lingering, they need a complete rebuild, start from scratch.
But the thing is, man, with them, they've spent so much money. Like, it's very hard to bypass the financial...
Fair play now, yeah.
Yeah, but it's very hard to bypass. Like, I remember someone put up a tweet the other day about Klopp when he first came to Liverpool, and it was like a string of results that he had. Not a string, but it was like a group of results that he had that season when he came in.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind, Klopp's first season in Liverpool got to a Europa League final, and a League Cup final, I think. But there was games like against Sion in the Europa League, which we lost 1-0, say, whatever. And people, like, this guy had these results, and, like, it looked really good interior. Like, oh, I get it, Klopp came in and they were shit for a while. But the team Jurgen Klopp came into is none compared to the team Amorim's come into, just purely based on the amount of money that's been spent on this team previous to Amorim coming in. By Ten Hag. Like, even Anthony comes on the other night against Wolves. And I'm looking at Amorim, and Amorim's like chatting to him, obviously telling him a few tactics or whatever. And Anthony's like shaking his head, like really up for it. And Anthony kind of turns away to go on, and you can see Amorim just to look at his eyes, like, this fella's not going to do anything. Do you know what I mean?
But, like, I think you're right because also the very high wage structures at United as well, and the kind of complacency from the players when they're on that number of wages. It's very hard to make an impact.
Even Bruno Fernandes, man, he's one of their better players. But he's so petulant. He got sent off against Wolves, didn't he, the other night? Like, I'd be pulling my hair out if
it's a melting pot of mayhem.
Man, it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like, really bad. And, like, there's times when you're like, Chelsea, I know, went through a bit of a tough time post Abramovich, whatever. There was no one point when he was as bad as that.
No.
In that period, I don't believe.
Well, I think maybe the Pochettino era, Lampard era, wasn't great.
But was it as bad as this, though?
I don't think
at
one point they were 12th. But
United are 14th, man. They have been for a while.
It doesn't look like getting much better.
No.
And
even under Pochettino, like, towards the end of last season, Chelsea looked alright. Like, the success of Maresca so far, I don't think is a surprise because of how well Chelsea played towards the end of Pochettino's reign.
I think Pochettino started the renaissance, and Maresca's just kind of building on. Yeah. There's more than one ways to build a process, in my opinion. 100%. Not just like a one manager thing. I think having someone come in after the manager that raises the standards, as I alluded to before on the podcast, I think that can be a factor as well. Yeah. But Adam, will we crack into anything else to talk about, or are we happy enough?
That one, probably enough. Yeah.
We
feel like we've covered all bases there.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Arsenal, but they're irrelevant. So.
Well, they're kind of back to winning ways after a bit of a stumble. That's why
sack out now for a few months.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. Odegaard was back. I don't know if he's injured again, but
I think they struggled when Odegaard was out because he was one of their talisman.
Yeah,
and now their other talisman is out and Odegaard's back.
Yeah,
be interesting to see how they fill that void.
Yeah, and I think they have Brentford away on New Year's Day, which would be.
Brentford away on New Year's Day. Huh?
That's just a banana skin. Yeah, written all over. Yeah. Especially with Brentford's home record. But
why are we here, Kieran?
We are here to cover the 2024 biggest headlines, a year in review.
This is
a special thanks to ChatGPT for coming up with this.
So essentially, me and Kieran on our last record had said we'd record a Christmas episode and we'd put into ChatGPT. And in fairness, ChatGPT, excuse me. The show that ChatGPT gave us had really good structure, and it was like obviously like Christmas themed, and we really wanted to do it. We never got to do it in the end. So we're like, we'll just do a review show of 2024, add our own spin on things as well.
It's a bit like RTE when they do that year in review thing.
Yeah,
on the talk show.
A lot of these global news and affairs, Kieran, that we have here, I don't know a lot about this, so I'm going to be leaning on you
I don't know a lot about
Do you know anything about the China and Taiwan tensions?
Listen, we'll start from Climate Action Accelerates. Adam. So this is the first title of 2024.
Steely Dan just plays in the background.
Climate Action Accelerates. The UN Climate Summit in Dubai saw landmark agreements on renewable energy investments, with the EU committing to carbon neutrality by 2040. Adam, do you think this is going to happen? Carbon neutrality?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. But what I will say is, I think it's definitely a must, because Christmas Day this year, the heart of winter, it was about 17 degrees. It was so warm and
Now you're sounding like a climate fucking
I'm just
activist
saying,
here.
man. I'm just saying.
It might have been about 12, 13
It was
degrees.
16 degrees.
I've seen that in
It
my
was
life.
16 degrees at a height.
We've also seen it 0 on frozen over. I don't know if you remember.
What would
that
you
Christmas.
prefer? I personally would prefer a cold Christmas.
I love the White Christmas. Do you remember the White Christmas in 2010?
Yeah.
Unbelievable scenes.
Yeah.
Nostalgic vibes.
We never get that again, man. With the way people vape these days.
We won't spend much time on this, Adam. Conflict in the Middle East.
Oh, God.
Ongoing tensions escalated, with diplomatic efforts from the UN and key nations attempting to mediate peace agreements. Now this sounds very biased from ChatGPT. We won't get too political in this podcast.
The American ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you lead with this, girl.
Conflict in the Middle East. I said we won't get too political. I don't want to turn this into an argument.
Yeah.
But I do think what's happening over in the Middle East is crazy. And I do think with less Western influence, I think we'd be in a better place. But whatever your opinion is on that argument could go on for hours. So we won't get into it. So AI regulations tighten. Funny enough,
major economies, including the EU and the US, introduced stringent rules for artificial intelligence, citing ethical concerns and risks to jobs.
Another interesting topic.
We've used AI here.
Yeah,
this. The user friendliness of AI is incredible.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's a certain validation with the kind of the risk of people losing jobs and stuff. I think AI to an extent is quite terrifying. I feel like it's going to take over the world at some point. So,
Adam, I think we're there in 5-10 years. We'll have self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Now, I think that the job of a delivery driver for Amazon, I think that'll be gone within 5-10 years.
Yeah, maybe less.
I think the job of someone who does data entry, for example, I think that'll be on in less years than any of the jobs, because that can be done with ChatGPT at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So, and I'm looking at the law for 3 laws of robotics. I forget who came up with this. Isaac something. Isaac Asimov, yeah. So this is actually something that's in the start of the iRobot film by Will Smith, but it's based on Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. I think this was done in the 1900s. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Now that's obviously the 3 laws of robotics, and that would be encoded into artificial intelligence. I would say for the next millennium. Now whether it follows it or not is another thing, but this is essentially saying that a robot won't go in there and press the button to fire a nuclear bomb and kill all of civilization, because it might be a good thing to do for the environment. I think, to get back to the initial thing that ChatGPT's come up with, the rules for artificial intelligence, citing ethical concerns and risks of jobs, I think we should be safe. If everyone does their job correctly, we should be safe.
But what are the chances that it's unsafe, would be my question to you.
Quite high.
Yeah.
Quite high. It's definitely, if people like Elon Musk and other people who of such intelligence are saying that this is a risk.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
Yeah, you see, I can't quite grasp the. like it's such a complex thing that like you can put into this. Like we've put in like we were creative people, right?
Yeah.
I would class us as creative beings, and we could be an hour putting together a show. If we were to sit down, like if we were to plan a show out, we could be an hour doing it.
Yeah.
This does this like that.
As detailed as that, 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what we would take us that long.
Yeah.
So like, will humans cease to exist? Would be my point.
Well, the 3 laws are a box. I hope not. I hope not. But
Do you trust Asimov?
I trust Asimov.
Yeah,
I
fuck
trust.
man, I don't know if I do. China and Taiwan tensions this year saw increased geopolitical tensions as military exercises raise fears of escalation. War is not good, would be my general opinion on these kind of things. And it's such a sad thing that like these tensions rise and like
What I notice is bad things come in twos, good things come in threes. Like that, I think like the China Taiwan stuff comes along with the Ukraine and Palestine stuff. It's just like I feel like when a war starts or a tension starts,
it's like a rolling effect kind of.
yeah, because I feel like rival countries see it as an opportunity because other countries are distracted to go in somewhere.
Yeah, no, you're
and
right.
and then it all escalates. And I just hope we don't see this resulting in another world war at some point.
I feel like, is it going that way?
Yeah, well, I think we are headed
Yeah,
as close.
I think we were probably as close to something like that as we've ever been.
The Cold War as well was close,
Yeah.
but
And like I find where
this is a Cold War too, I suppose.
yeah, I find with like these things subconsciously, like it's obviously we're in Ireland, we're very kind of, I don't want to say safe, we're kind of secluded in this part,
Yeah.
but that kind of subconscious feeling of like a world war happening is terrifying.
Oh yeah, it is.
You know, like
it's,
when
it's
you,
frightening.
when you think about it, it's absolutely terrifying. You know, it's crazy.
And with nuclear weapons and such, even more terrifying. But hopefully we don't come to that. And we might move on from this.
Yeah, what the hell? Imagine tuning into this. I'd be like, hey, what's going on here? Moving on, Kieran, from the geopolitical issues of the world, to more up our alley, I suppose. The footballing year that was, a lot of these, like, it says here that Real Madrid beat Manchester City in Champions League final. That's not true.
No.
For what it's worth.
So that's one thing AI got wrong.
That's one thing. Yeah, it's 1-0 to the humans, Kieran, as they say in the old football. Starting off, I suppose, one of the biggest things of the year, and we'll probably get on to more personal things as this goes on. You know, stuff in football that we like really enjoyed. I suppose the biggest thing internationally in football this year was Spain winning the Euros, and I suppose England's risk of winning was quite high, even though at points, you know, the English were kind of vilifying their team, and then they get their way to a final, beating the Dutch in the semi-finals, which was a great game, by the way. And Spain triumphed, thankfully. The likes of Lamine Yamal, really, really crucial. Zubimendi comes on in the second half, he was really good. But this Spain team, Kieran, in conjunction, in comparison to the English, really just, you know, put them to sword, didn't they?
Yeah, and there's a bit two tales to this story. I feel like England had the best squad on paper in the tournament. And I think that's the first time that's happened in quite a long time. But I also think that if you're Spanish, you know that you have the edge over England. Because at the end of the day, as much as we like to gloss over the fact, Spanish people around the world, this is their game.
Okay, I didn't know where that was going.
I know. I know.
I was like, what?
Well, you could have the best academies in the world. What people like to say is the best league in the world. I'm not too certain about that. You can have all of it. England have that. They have the best squad in the tournament. But you can't teach what the Spanish have, which is having the natural talent to play football,
I think they have a winning mentality as well.
a winning mentality.
You know, like
also,
if you look at the English throughout history, in these finals, like they tend to bottle it. You know what I mean? Like the Euros that was like ended up the final being in England in Wembley. They bottled that. They've had multiple occasions where they've gotten so far in the tournament and they've just lagged out. Like even the World Cup in Qatar against France, and I think the thing with the English side, generally speaking, that they struggle with is kind of, and I suppose it's maybe a societal thing, but they struggle to open up. They struggle to just let loose.
yeah,
And like the likes of Palmer, like Watkins in the semi-final against the Dutch was great. They have a reliance on Kane, and it was almost like, well, we have to play him because he's been so good to us.
yeah.
And it's like they only see that there's only one way of winning that they see possible, and to win it, I think like Palmer comes on, doesn't he, in the final and scores. Like the season Palmer had with Chelsea that year, unheard of, and he was one of England's best players in the kind of short stint he played.
I think it was crazy. The crazy decision Southgate made not to start him. I think that might cost them the tournament, honestly.
And now you have Tuchel as manager, which we never even touched on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I remember we talked about Tuchel going to United, but Tuchel's now the English manager, and in a very kind of English, arrogant way, they're angry that they have a German managing them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like a patriotic thing of an Englishman has to manage his country, and it's like, if an Englishman manages, there's no good English managers good enough to lead them to a trophy.
No.
Whereas I'd be very concerned that Tuchel will.
I'm unsure, is there an English manager in the Premier League at the moment?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe's the only one.
Well, it's Sean Dyche.
It's definitely a diminishment
Eddie
diminishment
Howe,
in
Sean
England.
Dyche. Kieran McKenna's from the north of Ireland, isn't he?
He's from Ireland.
Yeah.
He's a Republican. Yeah, he is. Sorry, I hate to say it, but
yeah, it's I find the English at international tournaments meant to be hilarious. They always give you something to laugh about, And then you have, in comparison to the men's side, the women's side, winning Olympic gold, Kieran, which I find the rise in women's football, especially over that side of the world in England, to be massive. And they lost. Did they lose the World Cup final last year, didn't they?
I think they lost the Euros.
Well, no, they won the Euros and lost the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like, just from, and I don't know a lot about the women's game internationally,
Yeah.
but I still get the sense of, it doesn't matter what side of international football is, but the English team still kind of bottle it, which I think is funny. Now they won Olympic gold in Paris, which is fair enough. But yeah, I just find I find the English attitude towards international football amazing. Like like we have an Icelandic man managing our team. We don't know how good he's gonna be. Is he gonna lead us to the World Cup? Maybe not. But
We hope for our sakes.
I feel like we've embraced him.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Do you know what? I've actually seen improvement to the last international break.
Yeah.
From previous campaigns. Now, whether he brings us to the qualifiers, I think they have a bit of a friendlier group this time around than the Euros. But listen, there's no positivity around the team, so there's no pressure on Ireland, to be honest.
The European competitions, Kieran, in the domestic game, Real Madrid win it again. Very emphatic, wasn't it?
There's no surprise.
But I think the story there was Marco Reus's, kind of last dance for Dortmund in the final, and
He didn't start though, did he?
it ends in a typical Dortmund fashion, doesn't it? They lose the final, do you know?
Yeah, and I think they were crazy sacking the manager as well. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but a manager gets you to the Champions League final and he's sacked. I think that's nuts.
In the Europa League final, Kieran, was in Dublin. Atalanta versus Leverkusen. One of my favourite podcasts we've ever done.
Yeah.
Full stop, under the OnlyFans bracket, this one was that final. We ended up in Bowes, didn't we, in Fleet Street?
Gary couldn't go because he's in the hospital.
Gary couldn't go because he's in hospital. Atalanta beat Leverkusen.
Yeah.
In a shock, the Adamola Luckman kind of coming out party. Unbelievable. Oh, I don't mean it like that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. I think we interviewed fans before the game, everyone was, oh, this is Leverkusen's.
Yeah.
They're
Apart
invisible.
from one man from Donamaid, or Donabate, who was married to an Italian woman.
I put that in the best bits as well. we were absolutely stumped by him.
We were like, Atalanta, and he was like, yes. And we were like, what score will today be? You know, the typical. I think it's a very Irish thing that when you're away in a foreign country, you'll speak your same language, but you'll slow it down as if it makes it better. And we're like, what score will game be? And he was like, I think Atlanta are going to win 3. The two of us, I wish we had this on video, but the two of us just went, whoa, hold on, where are you from? I'm from Donabate. Oh, what the fucking hell, man? Why do you follow Atlanta? Oh, my wife's Italian. Brilliant. Okay.
And then he was like, oh, you're confusing me. You're
confusing me, man. What? You don't understand English? What the hell, man? It was a great day. It was a great showcase, wasn't it? I think
a good occasion. I'm not sure about the quality of the game now, but it was a good occasion.
One of 3 games Xabi Alonso's lost all year. The final against Liverpool in the Champions League and Leipzig early on in the season.
He's not having as good a year this year, I think.
He's only lost 2 games this year, though.
Yeah, but I think Company's doing a bit better over there, is he?
I think Leverkusen's still up towards top of the league. I think it's Leverkusen, Bayern, obviously, and then Leipzig are up there as well. Domestically, Man City won another league. It says here Barcelona and Inter Milan won in the La Liga and Serie A. But then it also says down the bottom, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. I'm going to check that.
I think Madrid won the title last year. I could be wrong saying that.
I feel like you could be correct, though. But in terms of Man City, Kieran, because they're definitely not going to do it this year, I think that's fair enough to say. What do you think in terms of, where do they go from here, I suppose, would be my point.
Well, I think we've discussed...
Well, Real Madrid, did win it last year in the La Liga, so ChatGPT, nil, humans, we're winning 2-0 at the minute.
Yes.
We're not being taken over. Inter Milan did win the league, so they got that one correctly. Mbappe moves to Real Madrid. Vinicius is there. Valverde, still such a strong team. Why do you think it's gone, I don't want to say wrong, but hasn't gone according to plan this season?
For Madrid, I think you said something about City there as well, but for City, where do they go from here? I think
I did start on Man City.
Yeah, I think they're snookered in terms of they need to rebuild for another 2-3 seasons, and we don't know what's going to happen, so to speak, with the charges in the background. So I don't know where they go from here. To be honest, I think Pep will stay his tenure. I think it'll last the 2 years. Whether they're in a better or worse place until he leaves is another thing. But I'm actually just waiting for it to happen. Yeah. Seeing what happens, because it's hard to predict at this moment in time.
I think they'll invest in January, and I think they'll just get new players and come back. It's so simple, but I think that's what
it's
happens.
Cynical as well.
I just can't see a world in which they don't come back. I just feel like this is unprecedented territory, and I seen someone say this the other day on Twitter, where it's like, if you look at Pep's reign, like this past few games, they've never, Big Sam, the point they're making was, if Big Sam spent the money Pep has spent, he would not have lost 9 games in 11 or something. And it's just like when he put it into context like that, it's so ridiculous. Is it true? Probably not. But
I don't think Big Sam would have lost 9 games, to be fair.
No, I this is the point. I think they said Big Sam, Neil Warnock and Tony Pulis was the argument. And I think they'd be correct, but I just feel like...
It was this loser making this argument.
Muppet on Twitter, man. Kieran McGraw's his name. But I find it to be really strange, because you look at even Chelsea, when they were struggling, they would have gone through patches like this. Spurs are currently like this, United... But it's just unheard of for it to be Man City. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, it was bound to happen. You can't... Nothing lasts forever. You can't expect it to last forever as well. And I feel like we touched on this at the start of the year when we did our predictions.
An Asian squad.
An Asian squad. But also, they didn't invest. They got rid of Alvarez, who was one of their best players. And I feel like Pep makes them mistakes. Yeah. And eventually these mistakes are going to come back to bite him.
Yeah.
The Palmer, the Lavias, the Morgan Rogers,
Yeah.
everyone he's let go. He only kept hold of Foden. It was eventually going to come back to bite him.
Yeah. No,
And
I agree.
He over relied on Oscar Bob as well. I don't know what his plan was with him,
Oscar Bob.
but he over relied on him being fit, and you can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
so.
No, I agree.
In terms of Barcelona as well, you touched on Barcelona,
Real Madrid.
Madrid as well. I think Ancelotti maybe has a year or two left with the squad, and I do think Hansi Flick is going to have a bit of renaissance with this Barcelona
Well,
team.
Atletico Madrid are top of that league, don't they?
Yeah,
Which I find to be very interesting because I've said it umpteen times in this podcast about when Klopp was leaving. I said if you gave me a manager to pick, right, I'd pick Diego Simeone. Be a complete contrast of the style we know now and what we would have known then. But I think he's such a good manager. I think Simeone is such an underrated manager.
there's a reason why he's paid so much as a manager. He's the highest paid manager. He brought Atletico from nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And the passion he exudes, but like I would love if Atletico won that league this year. In terms of Barcelona, like I think Hansi was trying this tactic of the high line and stuff, and it worked for a while. But I think they're being slowly found out. I think if Barcelona were to play Liverpool the way Liverpool are playing now, Liverpool would win 4 or 5-0.
Yeah,
easily.
That tie could happen as well in the future.
Could happen.
Yeah.
Madrid haven't really kicked on this year in Champions League, which is a surprise because of the likes of Kylian Mbappe, for example. And
I think they'll peak.
I think they'll. I wouldn't rule them out just yet. It's the point I'm going to make.
They'll peak for the knockouts. They always do. Terrific players on their team as well.
In terms of the year itself, Kieran, like we have get it out questions to come, so maybe not touch on it too much. But top 3 moments of the year. Have you got a top 3 to pick from?
Top 3 moments. I don't have a top 3 off the dome, but
what's your best moment, I suppose, of the year? From a personal
I think the Euros comes close to the best moment. I think the Palmer 4-4 against Man United. That
bonkers game.
That was peak scenes for me.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed, and even though Pochettino was at times bad for the heart, I do think he brought enjoyment back to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So that has to be up there. And yeah, I can't really think of much else. What about yourself?
Like personally speaking, I wouldn't have really thought about the Euros too much. Like I love the Euros. This is probably going to be a bit contrary, but I love the group stage of the Euros. I love when shit teams are playing shit teams.
Yeah.
Like Georgia were playing Albania, I think. It was a great game. It was like fucking 3-2 or something.
Georgia-Turkey was great.
Georgia-Turkey. Like there's games that happen. And Romania won their first game. I remember being at work watching the Romania game with someone who's from Romania, and he nearly fell off the table like this. Stuff like that I love.
Yeah.
But personally, like Liverpool beating Real Madrid and City in the 1 week, I think is arguably the best week of football I've seen from Liverpool. Like in my time supporting them, that Real Madrid game, like we played Real Madrid like they were like Leyton Orient or something. That's how good Liverpool were in that game. Kelleher saves Mbappe's penalty. But the best moment by far is Shell's in the league.
Yeah.
Like the season I had with Shell's this year is. There's something about it where it's almost like when you've like stayed through the shitness of it all, and then you kind of come out the other side. It's like it's unbelievable. Like you're looking at it and like that last day, like the goal, the celebrations after, the dislocated shoulder. Like there was so much that went on that you just kind of you look back and I said this to you before when we done the World Cup episode when Argentina won. Like when you're this age, you try to look forward and be like, where are we gonna be personally and whatever in a couple of years' time. After that Argentina win, we did it on Zoom, wasn't it? And we were almost getting emotional on Zoom. And if you said to me that in 2 years' time that we'd still be doing this, I'd be like, probably not. 2 Shells win the league, I'd have bitten the hand off it. So it's very gratifying in terms of that. So, yeah.
And I think I remember interviewing you at the start of the last season, I think.
For the coffee.
Yeah.
2023.
And you're like, oh, look forward look to build on Europe.
Mm.
It's crazy to see that he's won the league.
It's crazy, yeah.
And I think it was unprecedented, that game. That would be one of my notes year as well. Like just seeing the scenes after that,
Yeah.
and the winner. I think the League of Ireland this year definitely kicked on to a higher level in terms of bringing an audience in, and I do think Duff again. He's very good for the growth of the league and bringing more people in and attracting more eyes. I'll certainly have eyes on the start of the season. I'm going to the first game of the season, Bows Rovers.
Yeah.
So I think he's good for the league and need more characters like that.
Yeah.
100%.
We move on, Kieran, to the last part of this chat GPT. Controversial headlines. Brilliant.
Yes.
Tech giants face scrutiny. Major companies like Meta and Google were hit with record-breaking antitrust fines in the EU for alleged monopolistic practices. Jesus Christ, that's a big word. I don't even know what that means.
Heavy traffic.
Monopolistic. What's that mean?
I
look that up.
I haven't a breeze, Adam.
Let's look it up.
I think it means monopolistic means monopoly practices.
Monopolistic. Hold on. Monopolistic, relating to a person or business that has exclusive possession or control of the supply of or a trade in a commodity or service. The investigation into monopolistic practices among supermarkets.
Right.
I do not understand what that
I
means.
think it's shutting the little man out is essentially what they're doing. Is
Yeah.
that it? That's what's going on. Shutting the little man out. So you see, you have the likes of Lidl's and Aldi's the world shutting down your local butcher.
I suppose.
That's essentially what they're getting.
The thing that I take most from technology this year is when Microsoft went down for a day in July, and it was like the world stopped.
Yeah.
Like we were coming home from Malaga, following the Gibraltar game or the St. Joseph's game in Gibraltar, and we had gotten through. You couldn't access things on their phone. Like that's how kind of strong it was, and I think it showed the reliance or the over reliance that we have on technology.
Yeah,
Because you couldn't do anything like
it's
it.
bad.
You know?
Sure.
We got stranded in Malaga as well. Which
That's
is
why
great.
I think it's important to just walk down the road and try and get somewhere without Google Maps, because I feel like there's an over reliance on, like, even if you're driving somewhere, if you're walking somewhere, do I turn left here? It's important to know the names of the roads, even.
Yeah, I think for your brain as well.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I want to do in the new year is not be on my phone as much.
Delete social media.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think, like in terms of contact with people, it's very hard to. But I think long run it'd be very good for you. You know.
Yeah, 100%.
Saudi Pro League's rise. Massive spending by Saudi Arabia's football clubs sparked debates over sports washing and the shifting of power balance in global football. Mumbo jumbo. I have no time for the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, and I do think there was a lot of hype around it. I think it was 2 summer windows ago, or it might have been the January windows. There was a huge spark and controversy over Saudi teams buying top players. I think Chelsea put a number of sales that way. I think Fabinho went over there for Liverpool as well.
Firmino, Mane.
But I think it has died down to a certain extent.
Yeah, I feel like you don't hear as much about it, which, like, compared to the MLS, like, which is still kind of like a holiday destination for some. Like, Marco Reus went over there, won his first ever league title with LA Galaxy. Messi is still doing bits with Inter Miami. Like, I feel like,
And
I'm trying to distinctly find the difference in why the MLS feels like it's still growing, and it could be because the World Cup's there in 2 years when the Saudi Pro League is going down, when the star power on both is fairly reasonable.
yeah, I don't think a Saudi team is in the Club World Cup, which is interesting. I thought FIFA would have at least done one dodgy deal.
Well, they done a dodgy deal into Miami. That's why
I've seen that. Yeah, if you look at the reason why Inter Miami are in the tournament,
It's
very, very dodgy.
and the reason is it's because Lionel Messi. That's
Yeah.
quite literally it. But.
Infantino wants me.
Climate protests disrupt events. Activists targeted global summits, sporting events, and cultural gatherings, drawing attention to the climate crisis but polarizing public opinion.
This is an interesting one.
Just Stop Oil. This is the kind of
Just Stop Oil, yeah. I think they crashed the snooker, they crashed the golf. I think at one stage they crashed the golf and Scheffler was in the bunker and they had to stop the golf for about half an hour.
There was, so when we were going to Zurich in the summer, to get to Zurich, actually, unless you're going direct, is quite, abstract. And one of the lads was flying from Dublin to Frankfurt to Zurich. And his flight from Dublin to Frankfurt was cancelled because someone from Just Stop Oil glued themselves to the track, the runway in Frankfurt. And now Frankfurt's a fucking massive airport, man. I don't know if you've ever been to it. I just find it hilarious. Like, it's to stop air travel for a day, essentially.
Yeah, well, like, what do you think about protests? Is that too far?
I think we're too far into, like, air travel, for example. We're too far into that to kind of put that to a stop. Like, there's no way you're gonna, like, if you want to travel to Zurich is a good example of it. The only way to get from Ireland to Zurich, really, in a quick way, is by flying. So there's no chance of that just stopping. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
Like, it's a very hard commodity to put an end to at this stage.
And also, I feel like they're targeting the wrong things. They should be targeting governments around the world.
Am I right in saying that it Just Stop Oil person stopped an everything game at one point? Remember, he tied himself to the post. Was that last year or was that this year?
It was, I think.
And then everything stayed up. So yeah, I suppose they put a stop to some good causes. Like, I get it. For what it's worth, I get it. Do I think it's right? Maybe not, but I understand why they do it.
Yeah.
The air travel ones that they do, I think is bonkers. I think it's so bizarre because it's very hard to stop air travel, would be my point.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting nonetheless. AI generated media.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Sparks debate.
I think we touched on this already.
The rise of AI generated content blurred lines between reality and fiction, leading to widespread calls for regulation.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that gets me about it is on Twitter there's a function now where you can create AI generated images. And one of the ones that keeps coming out is Arteta, to bring it back to football, is Arteta with Tony Pulis in a Stoke jersey.
And other people we won't mention.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, don't mention that. I think when it's used for that, it's obviously in a meme kind of vein. It's quite funny,
Yeah.
but it's also quite jarring. Like, it's terrifying how this, like, the creation of fake news is massive now.
I actually got a bit scared. And I had this sinking feeling in my stomach when those images were coming out on Grok.
Yeah.
I was like, how realistic is this and how scary is this?
Yeah.
And I got this sinking feeling.
And it's only when you zoom in on it, like, so for like a Stoke jersey, Stoke are sponsored by Macron, and like the Stoke crest is like blurred out, and like, but initially, like, you're looking and going, oh Jesus Christ, but then you look into it, it's like, oh okay, this is fucking clearly fake. But the eye test is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it is scary. That's the way I'd put it.
Royal family drama, I don't give a
I've
fuck.
no fucking.
Right, that's
do not
2024, Adam.
Whoa, what a year.
Thanks, ChatGPT, for coming up with that for us.
Yeah, we've spent like nearly an hour slating AI. And we've just used it for our own gain. Oh, we love it, really.
That was enjoyable, though.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
We probably will come back to ChatGPT to structure episodes because, to be fair, like, it does say ChatGPT can make mistakes, check important info. Me and Kieran don't do a lot of research, so we had to look up the Real Madrid in the league, like, you know. So
This is one I came up with, actually. So this was why Arteta's style of play is similar to that of Tony Pulis. And it came up with a defensive dinosaur disguised as a visionary. Arteta's so-called tactical brilliance is nothing more than Tony Pulis in a tuxedo. Strip away the shiny PR machine and Guardiola references, and what you're left with is an overhyped pragmatist. Arteta clogs the midfield, relies on overcoached automations to suffocate games, and prays for scraps on the counter-attack. His possession-based football, in quotation marks, is a facade. It's slow, ponderous, and about as inspiring as watching paint dry.
come here, man, right? So for you to prompt this, you said make it harsher on Arteta.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking fairly valid. After watching the Ipswich game the other night.
I kept saying that for about 5 times.
Number 2, set piece merchants. The core of Arteta's attacking philosophy is set pieces. Arsenal's most dangerous moments often come from corners or free kicks, not from incisive play or dazzling build-up. Just like Pulis' Stoke. Arsenal lean heavily on their centre backs to nod the ball home. The tactics straight out of 2008. How to survive relegation playbook.
I think we'll leave that there.
Oh, that's
Well,
gas.
that is funny.
Here, let's do one more. Overrated trophy record. Arteta's FA Cup win? Question mark. A fluke. He stumbled into a counter-attacking setup that worked for a few games, rode his luck, and has been living off that ever since. If Tony Pulis had a Aubameyang finishing like Brian Thierry Henry, he'd have won a trophy too. The Community Shield? Question mark. It's a glorified friendly. Pulis could have won it too if he wore the right suit. Oh, stop it. Cut the cord. Jesus Christ, man. Now that we've calmed down from AI, I'm kind of close this. So you need
Yeah,
to
close it, please.
It's kind of freaking out. We're going to move on, Kieran, to I think something that our TikTok following like is team and a half season, purely because it garners reaction. Before we talk about it, I talked about Tim Sherwood earlier. I'm gonna read out his team and a half season. Pickford in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Milenkovic of Forest, Gahey of Palace, Kirkes of Bournemouth, Kulusevski, Palmer, Cunha in midfield. Jeez, you'd get through that quite easily. Bowen, Saka, and Isak up front.
That's terrible.
What the hell is he smoking?
I think that's terrible.
It's a really bad one. Hopefully we can do a better one.
I have some of his players down in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I do as well, but I don't think... And I love Saka and I love Bowen. They're great players, but they're not in my team, for example. Do you want to start us off, Kieran?
Yeah, I'll start with the goalkeeper and back four. So in my team and a half season this year, I've gone for Pickford in goal. I think he's been terrific for Everton. I think, he's part of the reason that they're getting so many points is how good he's been. Right back, I've gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think there's no doubt in saying he's improved. Liverpool. I think the fact he can just ping a pass and set Salah free, for example, I think that's a big advantage. And also, his defensively, he's improved under Slot. There's no denying that. As much as I would like to criticise him, I can't deny he's been he's been very good for Liverpool, and there's not been any better. I would say Ola Aina maybe deserves a shout. He's been good for Forest. Centre back, I've gone for Murillo.
I'm just writing mine out, by the way.
Murillo, he's been terrific for Forest this year, and I do think he's linked with Real Madrid because of how good he's been. Milinkovic as well, also terrific. Doesn't get a spot on this occasion. I've gone for Gabriel of Arsenal. I think his goals from corners is the reason why Arsenal are where they are, and that's not a slight against him. He's just a very big threat in corners. And left back, I've gone for Anthony Robinson. I don't think there's any argument with how good he's been this year.
That's your back four and five, sorry.
That's my
back four and goalkeeper, excuse me.
Yeah.
My back four and goalie is similar, but I don't have any Arsenal players in my team. I've just realised there I don't have any of them. Which is probably going to get a bit... I don't have any City players either. Do you have any City players?
I don't.
No. My back four and goalie starts with the goalkeeper of Nottingham Forest, who I think has been amazing this season, really. Matt Sells, 32, Belgian. I don't think they would be in the position they are without him, for example.
Yeah.
I've gone at right back, I've gone for Ola Aina, because I think you were talking about Trent, and I do think Trent has improved astronomically in midfield. I think he's really come in, in defence, he's come into his own. But I also find, and I love Trent, and I think if we lose him, it will have a detrimental effect to an extent. But I think Slot, to a degree, prefers Bradley at right back, just because I think he suits the structure more. But if you take Trent out of the team, you lose so much going forward. So I think there's an interesting dynamic there. But I've gone for Ola Aina. I've gone for Liverpool's two centre halves in Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate. I think the way we've set up this year has really helped them to kind of, become better defenders. I think you only notice how much you miss Konate when he's injured. And we've shipped a lot of goals recently since he's been out of the side, notably against Spurs. And I think Van Dijk, I think he's... we'd be here. I could be here all day talking about him. I don't need to tell you why he's in the team and a half season. The likes of Milenkovic, Gabriel's been great as well. But I just think as a two, I think they've been unbelievable. And I think if we do win the league, I think they will have a large proportion that would be down to them. And then at left back, I've gone for the best left back in the league for me, Anthony Robinson. I think Cucurella is the only one that was close. I think Robinson's had a really decent season for Liverpool, but notably he's I don't like using the word declined, but you can see he's not the player that he once was.
He's not as good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my back five: Sales, Aina, Konate, Van Dijk, and Anthony Robinson.
Yeah, only one you agree on there is Robinson. My midfield three, Adam, I've gone for Gravenberch, Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think for Liverpool, they were crying out for a number 6 for so long, and they tried to get Thiago to fill the void. But I just think the way that Slot has utilised Gravenberch is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's been terrific for Liverpool this year, and there's no doubt he's walking into this team. Caicedo for Chelsea, unbelievable this year, unbelievable. Finally justifying that price tag, in my opinion. And Kulusevski,
Been great for Spurs. Yeah.
unreal.
Can I just say really quickly on Caicedo, because I'd have had him on my side. I don't. I do have a Chelsea player in there, but not him. The reason why I don't have him in it is because he's played a bit at right back, hasn't he? But like an inverted role.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
And he's been really good there. I'm not saying he hasn't. But I think there's a midfielder at Chelsea who's had a better season. Do you know who I'm going to say?
Enzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Enzo Fernandez. Just to move on to my midfield, I have Gravenberch as well. I don't think there's a lot you can dispute. I think he's probably been the most consistent player in the league this season. But Enzo Fernandez has been great for me, man.
I think Caicedo's unlocked Enzo, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
to use Gen Z terminology.
Yeah, maybe you don't get one without the other.
But I think the fact that you're referencing Caicedo being inverted, I think the fact you have Caicedo behind Enzo covering his position when they're in possession, I think that has a role to play as to why Enzo's better going forward this year. And
potentially.
maybe unlocking him to how good he was in the World Cup in that attacking midfield role.
I do agree.
But yeah, I'd agree with Enzo's had a much better season. Caicedo's been consistent across the board. He's improved a bit this year, but Enzo's definitely improved a lot. So I'd agree with putting him in.
So I've gone Gravenberch and Enzo. I've gone for a bit like a slot formation. I've gone Salah on the right, Palmer in the middle, and then Matheus Cunha on the left.
So you don't have a third midfielder?
No, I've kind of gone with Liverpool structured midfield.
So that's
Gravenberch,
10
Enzo,
players?
City. No, it's 11 players. 5 in midfield. And then a striker.
5 in midfield.
Are you alright?
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah. I was just so you have Palmer in front.
I've Palmer kind of in the 10 and
Yeah.
then Salah and Cunha on either wing. Mo Salah's the best player in the world at the minute, so I think it's hard to leave him out. And Cunha is doing things with Wolves that he probably has not right to be doing. Like he's playing out of his skin. That game against Fulham the other week, a couple of weeks ago. Oh my God! Some of the goals he gets in that game and his general pass and his build up, his position and everything. I'd be amazed if he's still at Wolves in January. Come the end of January, I'd be amazed.
I think he's petulant.
Yeah, probably.
What he's done, what he did to that was it Ipswich assistant.
Yeah,
That's I don't put him in for that reason. I think it's expected that he gets 10 goals at this point in the season, and he didn't do it last year.
I don't know if it's expected. To be fair, I think it's in the South American nature to be a bit wild though. Like to see João Pedro for Brighton, like nearly elbowing your man, like stuff like that. It's batshit, you know.
I wouldn't put him in for that reason.
He's a great player, man.
I don't like Cunha, to be honest with you, but
He's a great player. He's a great player.
I've gone for Palmer, Salah, and Buemo as my front three.
And then up front,
I think Chris Wood pushes in Buemo for for being. That's my front three. I haven't. I don't have anyone up front. It's a false nine, so to speak. But I think Buemo has been unbelievable for Brentford this year.
Yeah, Brentford have been great though. Like, and I was looking at their team and I was trying to kind of decipher who to put in.
Yeah,
there's been so many good players this year. Like, even Bournemouth have been great. You know, I feel kind of somewhat aggrieved to not put the likes of Sabarnier in, and you know, they've had a really good season. The other lad at centre half, I can't really pronounce his name. He's only young, Huysen.
Yeah.
Dean Huysen. He's from Spain. He sounds like he's from Norway or something. He's been great.
Lacroix for Palace.
Caught a vibe. Him.
Yeah.
John Duran, could he be in with you?
No.
Morgan Rogers.
Almost, but
Yeah.
not enough good games. Palmer, Adam, I think, started brightly, but I think he's been snussed out a little bit. He still gets in the team.
Snussed out.
Snussed out, yeah. He's had too much snuss.
Snuss, yeah, too much nicotine. Kieran got me a box of snuss for Christmas, by the way.
Yeah.
To which I described to him, that'd be like buying someone a packet of cigarettes. Whatever.
I want them gone as soon
Happy
as
Christmas,
possible.
Anzi, there's a box of snuff for you. A word on Chris Wood, sorry, really quickly. I think he's on 12 goals, 13 goals this season.
Yeah.
Scored against Everton yesterday. I think this forward side is fascinating. And I think he's a big part of it.
Bit of a throwback, isn't it? Like, the kind of very strong defensively.
Like, I've three
Pragmatic.
forward players in this team. 3 forward players, 2 Chelsea, 4 Liverpool, as supposed to be expected. A Wolves player and a Fulham player. You wouldn't have thought that at the start of the season. Do you know? I just think someone, like, I think you said about Cooney should be scoring these goals. I think Cooney's played on another planet this year. I think he's been really good.
He's been good, but I just don't like the petulance.
Yeah.
That'd be my reasons for not putting him out. But we named the
1 to 10.
1 to
1 to 11, excuse
yeah.
me. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I'll go first. I'll say Pickford in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold right back, back two centre backs of Murillo, Gabriel, Anthony Robinson, left back, Gravenberch, Caicedo, Kulusevski in the midfield 3, and I've gone for Palmer just in front of them with Salah and Mbeumo running in behind.
Yeah.
And that's my team of the half season.
My team in the half season is as followed: Matt Sells of Nottingham Forest, Ola Aina, the right back, Virgil van Dijk and Konate, centre halves, Anthony Robinson of the USA, Gravenberch and Enzo in midfield with a 3 behind the striker of Salah, Palmer and Cunha, and then Chris Wood up front to head the goals home. I've enjoyed, it could be because Liverpool are playing really well, but I've enjoyed this season so far.
It's been different because City aren't running away with it.
Yeah.
So I still think there's a few twists in the tail, but I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be that many because I think Liverpool are just too far ahead at this point.
Yeah, maybe.
Sadly.
We move on to the last get out of the season, Carl.
The last get it out. Get it
of the
out.
year, excuse me, not
Get
season.
it out.
And oh boy, do we have a lot of questions. Starting off with Senan, who's having a bit of an existential crisis. When will it get better? I think 2024 was really, really good, man. I won't lie.
I think you're copying Gary's questions, and I think Gary asked
you're
that
madly in
last
love with Gary
Yeah.
Vavaswar. What the hell?
That's my opinion.
Shay says, how was Gibraltar? Gibraltar was great, Kieran. You weren't in Gibraltar, were you?
No.
One of the best few days of my life. Shay, thank you. Phil Mangan says, what's the meaning to this all? What is going on, lads? Jesus Christ. Phil, you're in Australia, man. Enjoy it. Would be my opinion of that.
It must be some sort of code to get it out. Code. The lads text each other, ask the question, what is the meaning of life? All this bollocks.
Connell says, thoughts on the Mary Wallopers? In general, yeah, I like them. To see live, they're very
I think
good.
they're overrated, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, no, I would lean on that as well. I do tend to agree.
I think it's kind of like a throwback to the old ballads, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is so great," and it's not, like it's just the same recycled nonsense. But
Yeah, no, I do enjoy them. To be fair, that's a bit
that's harsh. Isn't
It's so harsh. I enjoy them. They're very good live. Would be my opinion. Dave Dunwoody says pre-assists. Talk to me. You love a pre-assist, Carl.
I never said this, and I think I'm living in Woody's head.
It's a ridiculous metric, by the way.
Well, it is a ridiculous metric, but
Is it a metric you go by?
I never referenced the pre-assist.
He did.
I said the pass before the assist.
A pre-assist is what you're saying.
Well,
yeah.
Well, if you want to call it that.
Well, you're in a non-penalty goal enjoyer as well, aren't you?
You put Enzo Hernandez in your team, so what does that say about pre-assist?
It says he's had a good season.
There you go.
It doesn't say anything about pre-assists. He says, what is your ideal European away day team? I assume this would be for Liverpool and Chelsea. I'd love to watch Liverpool in I'd actually love to go to the San Siro again to see Liverpool. We played there this year, didn't we? I think we beat Milan. I love the San Siro is one of my favourite grounds. I think we should have to go back to the San Siro, to be honest.
I want to go back, but also to watch Como because it's down the road, and I love the look of the stadium. It's on like Lake Como.
Yeah.
So half the stand is hanging over Lake Como.
Have you ever seen Calgary Stadium It's like from the Italian 90 jobs when David O'Leary scored in that game. That stadium, it's like a stadium in your kitchen. It's a great stadium. It's very homely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dave Dunwoody says, which Dave do you love more, Woody or my brother Dave Leonard? Dave's my best mate, so I have to pick my brother. Unfortunately, Woody.
I don't think I love any of them.
That's not true.
No, I can't say that. I can't decide, to be honest. I love them all so much.
Oh God. Ian says, thoughts on hair transplants. I think they're a really good thing, to be fair. Would I get one? Probably not. But they are a really good thing.
Listen, if I was a darts player in a quarter final, I'd get one.
Oh God, man, it's really bad. I wonder, did he win?
Yeah, maybe he did.
Maybe he did. Amy says, top 3 favourite moments of your year, which I think it's a nice question. Kieran, personally, we spoke about this earlier in terms of football, but
favourite moments of the year, like as a whole.
Yeah. What gives you gratitude for living this year, Kieran? 3 things.
I think Eindhoven is up there.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Eindhoven. I think more than Cologne, I enjoyed Eindhoven. Maybe because of the flight times.
Gary didn't get slapped in Eindhoven.
But Eindhoven's up there for me. I love Barcelona with the lads. That was really fun. And Europa League final was fun as well. Yeah, other than that, Christmas.
You found a woman, Kieran. Would you not put that as number 1?
Well, yeah, of course. I thought this was a football podcast.
My top 3, me and Dave were at WrestleMania, man. Me and Dave were at WrestleMania this year, which is like,
that's something.
That feels like a lifetime ago, man.
Yeah.
You know, being in Philadelphia was crazy. Nothing's gonna beat Derry away. That was the best night of my life.
You don't remember, I'd say.
What else? I think I really do think there was a patch there in November towards my birthday. And I'm going to get a bit deep here, but I felt really loved. It was a month where I genuinely felt really grateful for everyone in my life. There was a good week there. You know, like work-wise was really healthy. Like personal life was really healthy. That was that kind of week in November. It was really gratifying. Liverpool beat Madrid.
So essentially what you're saying there is you had one good week of life and that was it.
Derry away, WrestleMania, and that week in November, And to be fair,
do you remember?
To be fair, like December as a whole is quite a difficult month for a lot of people, and I'm no different in that vein. But it was one of the most, best Decembers I think I've ever had. Post and pre kind of 2020 was really good. So 2024 is one of my favourite years of existing in this world. Would be how I'd put it.
Very deep, yeah.
Amy says, "Love life wrap up 2024." I prefer not to speak.
Yeah, Amy. It's going okay.
She says, "Who's your favourite, Amy Rooney or Amy Rooney?" What a fucking leading question that is. I'm gonna say neither. I'm abstaining from this.
I'm gonna say Amy Rooney.
She says, "Who's gonna win the Super Bowl?" Buffalo Bills, please God. I got a Josh Allen jersey for Christmas off Dave. I love Josh Allen.
I hope the NFL ceases to exist.
I think it will at some point. I think that's coming.
What, like stop forever?
Yeah, big time, yeah. Because of CTE and stuff. I don't think it'll exist in years to come.
CT, what's that mean?
CTE, like head injuries and stuff.
Oh, really?
And I was chatting to an American in work recently, and we had this conversation. I should have been telling about Guinness, what you're talking about NFL. And anyways, he said that Americans are leaning towards playing, in his words, soccer and rugby.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better life.
Gary Vav says, things Gary should do instead of watching the Sunday game. Go for a walk, Gary. You actually concern me so much as a human being sometimes.
I think you should get off your phone, because I made one change to my Fantrax team on Christmas Day to bait who was on their phones.
And it was Gary Vav.
And it was Gary Vav first in the chat. Get off your phone, Gary, and enjoy Christmas.
He says, define a key pass. I'm going to leave this for you, Carl.
I think it's I don't know what it is. I still don't know what it is. De Bruyne made a key pass yesterday. It wasn't given to me on Fantrax. I don't understand.
I think a key pass is something that's leading to a chance.
Yeah.
That would be my... but I suppose that goes into define the chance. What's
the pre-assist?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. He said, what would your darts walkout music be?
something epic. I think I'd walk out to Hans Zimmer. That'd be
so
fucking
bad,
great.
man. I'd love to walk out to, what's your man's name? Ricky Evans. He does it like a prayer by Madonna. It's a great song to come out to. Something to get the crowd going. Like some of them are really bad. Like what's your man's name? He comes out to, oh, don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. You know who I'm talking about? Joe Cullen. Really bad song. I'd go with My Head is a Jungle by MK. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
My head is a jungle. That one. Yeah. Terrible song. I'm sorry. Gary says, thoughts on the Trent situation.
On what?
Trent situation. So the contract situation, I assume.
Oh, yeah, they're all leaving. This is another problem Liverpool have. They're all leaving in 2025.
I feel Van Dijk and Salah will sign on and Trent will be gone. That's my kind of opinion.
I think he'd be mad not to try and get Salah to sign on.
I think he wants to stay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a case of he doesn't want to stay. I think Van Dijk is the same, and I think Trent. Look at all players want to play for Madrid. That's, you can't really deny some of that. But I will say, like, in terms of staying with Liverpool, I'm surprised he's not making more of an effort to, because it feels like he's out the door. You know, that would be my.
He probably wants to travel or something. I don't know. He's a young fella at the end of the day.
Gary Vavaswar says, is Phil still playing fan tracks? You'll have to ask him, Gary. Is he still playing, do you know?
I think he is, yeah.
Stephen Dowling says, favourite non-sporting moment of the year, please, gentlemen.
Oh.
Thanks, Stephen.
I really enjoyed the Olympics, actually. I think the Olympics...
You love the Olympics,
I love the Olympics. I thought some of the sportsmen that Ireland have now, sportswomen and sportsmen, are unbelievable. I think that we've gone to the next level in terms of how we look after our athletes. I think the athletes have gone to the next level in terms of how they look after themselves in this country, because I think the drinking culture is diminishing. And I
agree with you, actually, yeah.
I'd put the Olympics up there for me. The female runners, unreal. Almost got a medal, the bronze. And the gymnast as well, Reece Clennon. Never seen the sport in my life.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He took a break after the Olympics for 3 months to travel, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
He spent his whole life up, like, leading to that gold medal. And I think the Olympics sometimes are quite harsh in terms of, like, you've trained so much for this one moment. Like, say if you're running a false start and you're fucking done for, do you know? So yeah,
was that a non-sporting moment?
Oh, I kind of read this wrong.
Is it non-sporting?
He said non-sporting.
Oh, well.
I took that as non-football. Fuck. What my non-sporting moment would have been Damien Priest cashing in at WrestleMania, because I was there. And if you told me as a 14-year-old that I would see someone cashing in at WrestleMania, I'd have probably told you to fuck off. So to see that happening was quite unbelievable. Non-sporting moment.
It would have been like Fine Gael getting voted out, but that didn't happen.
Non-sporting moment. Jesus Christ.
Tear down this wall. That didn't happen either. That happened in 1982.
I suppose non-sporting moment for me was, do I say this? I don't know. Do I say this? I don't want to...
Say it.
I really enjoyed Fontaine's gig at Tree-Arena, but I don't feel like that's a big moment.
Oh my God, Adam.
In terms of life, like, you could have...
Closet Bows fan.
You could have anything, and I'm picking a concert, do you know?
Closet Bows fan.
I'd say that night was really good.
I'd actually say the night out in O'Shea's bar in Eindhoven.
Yeah.
That was up there. That was great crack.
Whoa! God. Ulton says, similar to Stephen Downing, what are your footballing and non-footballing highlights of the year? We've gone through this bit. Shell's win the league is the best moment of my life, so that's mine.
I'd still put the Palmer last minute goal against United just for the scenes.
Ulton says, best way to use Christmas dinner leftovers, sandwiches, and then I fuck the... Well, I don't personally, but I get rid of the rest.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I
think there's a reason why we only eat turkey and ham once a year.
Yeah.
Geez, that sounded very grinchy, didn't it? He says, who are your best and favourites or your winter transfer window signings in recent memories? I loved when Arshavin signed for Arsenal. Was that in the winter? I don't feel like it was. Was it maybe the summer window?
Memories.
I feel like it was the winter window.
Coldest winter.
Suarez and Andy Carroll is another one that comes to mind. But
January transfers.
on the flip side of that, Torres went to Chelsea.
Oh yeah, that was my
That
favourite.
was the first time I cried at football was Fernando Torres going
Good.
to Chelsea. Yeah. Alton says opinions on Ronaldo's comments regarding the Ballon d'Or, Rodri, etc. I don't listen to a lot of what he says, generally speaking.
He said Vinicius should have won it.
Yeah. I think the Ballon d'Or is a lot of shite anyway, so I wouldn't care too
He
much.
definitely said he would compete with all the athletes that are still playing as well.
Yeah, well,
Or he's-
maybe he shouldn't play in Saudi Arabia. Huh? If he could, why is he playing in Saudi, would be my point.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like comments like this because I hate when like footballers come out and say, "Oh, he's terrific."
Yeah.
I want a bit of
Terrific.
I want a bit of needle in football, you know.
No, I agree.
But yeah, I have no real strong opinions on that.
Alton says, why did Mudryk take steroids but Nunes didn't? Is he trying to get up to Nunes' level or is he better? Well, he's definitely not better than Nunes. Mudryk.
Mudryk's better than Nunes.
Absolutely not.
I think he has more goals this year than Nunes does.
That's just not true. And he's factually not better either.
Ah, he's better. He's
You would have Mudryk ahead of Nunes.
yeah, he's taking steroids.
You're crazy.
Of course, he's better.
Alton says, thanks for a wonderful year of laughs. Here's to many more great episodes. Thank you, Alton. He sorted me out with a Christmas present for Dave. We're going to Dortmund next week.
That's brilliant.
Gary sends a picture of Phil into
Yeah, that's Phil
Phil Mangan out in Australia.
enjoying himself. See, you got a buzz cut.
Move on to Phil, who says, best pickup lines you'd use on Ben Casey's sister. We haven't mentioned Ben Casey's sister in a while.
Happy New Year to
Happy New Year,
Laura.
Laura. If I seen Laura on an evening out, I'd probably, hit her with a "do you come here often?"
Yeah, I prefer not to speak.
Well, you're accounted for, so
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
I get it. I love how awkward you get when they say that. Phil says, will you be each other's New Year's kisses? Thankfully not.
Well, we'll see.
We won't.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes, and that won't be one of them. He says, best hometown glory video. Jesus
Tammy
Christ.
Abraham.
Yeah, you love that one, don't you?
So does Phil.
Yeah,
loves it.
Phil loves that. Finishing with the last two questions, I think it's nice to finish with Dave. He says, rank Fabregas, David Silva, Thiago and Verratti in their prime.
Oh, he threw Thiago in.
Do you think Verratti's better than Thiago in his prime?
Yeah.
In his prime?
Yeah.
No
100%
way.
he
No
is.
way.
Wait, who was the other player? Sorry.
Fabregas, David Silva, Thiago and Verratti.
That's not even close.
I think the ranking is that.
I think
Is-
Fabregas is number one.
Yeah.
Silva is two. Verratti's three, and Thiago is down the list. I'd say he's below 10th in that ranking.
There's only 4 to rank, so
I
how
know.
can he be 10th?
But he's not even up there.
I'd rank it like that. I'd say Fabregas, Silva, Thiago, Verratti. Like in their prime, Verratti hasn't won a Champions League in his prime. I feel like he hasn't reached the level that he should have. Whereas I think Thiago in his prime, won man the match in Champions League final. Got a treble with Bayern Munich.
I just don't
Was really
think
good
he was
at
that
Barcelona.
impressive a player.
Oh, he was. He riddled with injuries at Liverpool, but before that, he
I
was
think
really
he was
good.
riddled with injuries his whole career, honestly.
A word on Fabregas, because I think Fabregas in his prime, and I think his prime lasted a long time actually as well. Going from Arsenal to Barcelona, playing a false 9, and then Chelsea for the season he was good. He was really good.
Under Mourinho, one of the best seasons ever. I still remember that Schürrle assist with Burnley.
And then David Silva, just a great player.
Yeah.
And consistently good. And he was in that City team. And it's hard to stand out in a team like that, but I think he did. Like, I remember his goal against Blackpool when he first came to England. He's a fabulous player. Last question of the year. Maybe ever. No, it's not going to be ever. Is a nice one, Kieran. I like to end on this. Is Alexis McAllister world class?
Who said that?
Dave.
No, he's not. He's not world class.
He is absolutely world class.
He's not world class.
He is, in my opinion.
It's ridiculous argument.
He'd have been in my team if Palmer wasn't as good as what he's been this year.
He'd be in your team if Enzo Fernandez wasn't as good as he is, and if Enzo Fernandez wasn't world class.
To be fair, I'm not lying to you. I was going to put McAllister in, but I was afraid of the backlash I'd get.
There you
So
go.
that's why I put Fernandez in.
Well, because you don't believe the hype. That's why.
No, I think McAllister's been great this year, though.
If he was great, he would be in your team.
He scored against Real Madrid, Kieran, in Champions League. When did
Why isn't he in
Enzo
your team?
Fernandez do that? Because I wouldn't have heard the end of it from you.
There you go. Well,
Alright, okay, I'll do my team again. I'll do my team. Sells and goal, Ola Ireland,
no,
Van Dijk,
no,
Konate,
too
Robinson,
late, too late.
McAllister, Gravenberch, Palmer,
Too late.
Salah, Chris Wood, and Cunha. There you go.
You don't believe that.
There you go.
Too
No,
late.
I think McAllister, honestly,
Too
no,
late.
on an honest level, has been world class this year. Do you not think so?
No, you
Genuinely.
defeated your own arguments. You put Enzo in.
I put him in to please you.
No, you didn't. You know it's not true.
I genuinely did. I genuinely did.
No,
Because
you don't believe that.
If I had put McAllister
believe
in, I wouldn't have heard the end from you.
Well, because McAllister wasn't good this year.
I think
He
he's
wasn't
been better than Enzo for what it's worth.
Gravenberch has been better.
I like picking these teams based on expectations of players. That's why Cunha's in. I picked Enzo because the expectation for him at the start of the season would be he was poo, but he's been really good.
So is Alexis McAllister. He's been really poo.
So he hasn't been the same.
No. McAllister was better last year under Klopp.
No, I think he's gone up a level.
No.
I think they all have gone up a level under Slot, to be fair. Do you know?
Because Slot's a better manager than Klopp, so I'm not surprised. Like, he's getting the best out of the team. So I'm not surprised in the slightest.
You trying to gaslight me?
It just shows how bad Klopp was
We
last
didn't even
year.
talk about Klopp leaving in our year review. Which
No,
is
we
mad.
didn't. Yeah.
It's almost like you hate him, Kieran, and you're jealous of him beating Chelsea with a bunch of children in a cup final. We didn't talk about that either.
These things happen.
These things don't happen. That's why it's exclusive and funny. And we'll leave it there. So thank you to everyone for joining us this year on the YouTube, on Spotify, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you take the podcast in. We wouldn't be here without you guys listening. Genuine, and I'm being serious.
Yeah.
So thanks to everyone for listening.
And Alexis McAllister will be in Adzi's team if Enzo Fernandez was
Joe, I did my team again, so he's thanks to everyone for joining us. We do appreciate the love and support as always. We hope for many more away days in the new year, hopefully. We hope to keep this podcast going. And to anyone who's enjoyed it, genuinely, hand on heart, thanks a mil.
And for those of you that sat through this whole thing, I think it's over an hour and a half, so fair play to you. We'll leave it there.
So.